Gardner, Kansas, yes or no? So if you're thinking about moving to Gardner, Kansas, that's the question you've probably been wrestling with in your mind. Does it make sense to move to Gardner, Kansas, or does it not make sense? So what we're going to do is we're going to give you all the information so you'll be able to decide for yourself whether or not Gardner, Kansas is a good fit for you and your family. Now, before we get into the advantages and disadvantages of Gardner, Kansas, I want to talk briefly just a little bit about the history and its location. Now, in terms of history, it was founded in 1857 by Henry Gardner, who at one point was the governor of the state of Massachusetts. Now, it is located at the confluence of the Santa Fe and the Oregon-California trails, and this was one of the very last stops that settlers made before they made their trek to the west. Now, in terms of the city itself, it wasn't really until the arrival of the railroads that it became a small, thriving town. And it wasn't really, though, until the late 1900s or the 2000s that it actually began to see some growth as a suburb of the Kansas City metropolitan area. Now, in terms of location, Gardner, Kansas is located in southern Johnson County. And that's important because all of the growth now that is taking place in Johnson County is moving either southward or somewhat to the west, which just so happens to be the direct path of Gardner, Kansas. So as a friend of mine would always say, it's in the direct growth of path, which means more importantly, Gardner is in a position to really see strong residential home appreciation. If you're contemplating making a move to Gardner, Kansas, and this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Gardner, Kansas, then subscribe to this channel. Simply tap on the bell below and you'll be the first to receive changes that are taking place in the Kansas City real estate market. My name is Chris Pucci with the Living in Kansas City real estate team. And believe it or not, we get calls from folks just like you every day. So if you're thinking about moving in 9 days, 90 days, or even 9 months, please feel free to reach out. I can be contacted by phone, by text, by email, or better yet, schedule a Zoom call. All the information is listed below, and there's nothing more that we would like than to help you make a smooth move to the Kansas City metropolitan area, and more specifically, Gardner, Kansas. Let's start with the advantages of living in Gardner, Kansas. And the first, and probably the most important, is the fact that there's truly affordable housing with the potential for strong appreciation. Now, let's give it some context. The average median home value in the United States is approximately $420,000. And as of mid-2025, the average median home value in Johnson County was somewhere between $475,000 and $500,000. So let me give you some context. Leawood, Kansas, for example, the median home value is $750,000. Overland Park, it's approximately $500,000. Lenexa, $460,000. Shawnee, $440,000. Olathe, $460,000. The median home value, though, for Gardner, Kansas, $287,297. Significantly lower than all the other cities that make up Johnson County. But it even gets better. For instance, in Johnson County, the median home value for a new home is somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000 to $650,000. But I'm going to tell you, in more of the upper scale neighborhoods, you're looking at $800,000 or more. The median new home value in Gardner, Kansas is somewhere in the neighborhood of $450,000. Now, there are several new subdivisions that are taking place here in Gardner. One is Prairie Trace. I've done a small video on that one. The median home value for a new home is somewhere in the neighborhood of $450,000 to $500,000. Other new subdivisions include Jenison Creek, where it's approximately $465,000. You've got Copper Springs, which is in the mid to upper $500,000. Tuscan Farms, $485,000. Symphony Farms is in the low to mid 600,000s. In addition, all of these new subdivisions have amenities such as pools, children's playgrounds, and in some cases, a community clubhouse. So what Gardner has to offer, affordable housing, giving first-time home buyers, young families, and even those people who are downsizing and retiring an opportunity to purchase affordable housing where they couldn't get elsewhere in the Kansas City metropolitan area. So that being said, Gardner might just be the perfect spot for you. The second advantage to living in Gardner, Kansas would be the fact that it's very family-friendly oriented. So if you're looking for a small town feel with a laid-back vibe, but you want access to all the perks that a big city has to offer, then you found it here in Gardner, Kansas. Now, I would describe Gardner as a quiet suburban setting, low crime, safe neighborhoods, ideal for raising families. There's plenty to do here. First of all, there's multiple parks, trails, sports complex, and the #1 family venue is the Gardner Aquatic Center. This particular facility offers zero entry pools, spray grounds for the little tots. You've got 2 water slides, a 25-yard lap pool, a lazy river, and a diving area that is separated from the lap pool as well as the other pools. Now, one of the nice things about this particular venue is the fact it's adjacent to a small park called Cornerstone Park. This park offers a small amphitheater, trees for shade, and 3 covered picnic areas, as well as a half-a-mile paved loop. A great place to have your picnic, spend the day at the Aquatic Center, and if for some reason you don't want to take advantage of the concession stand and you forgot to bring your own food, across the street is one of the best burger places, if not the best burger places in Gardner, and that's Blazers. So literally you can do everything right there on the spot without having to drive here or there to enjoy a summer day at the Aquatic Center. Now, in addition to the Aquatic Center, if you're someone who likes to spend their time on the lake, then you can take advantage of Gardner Lake. It's suitable for small watercraft as well as fishing. And there are plenty of other activities. If you're into golf, Gardner has a municipal golf course, but in addition to that golf course, within about 10 minutes from Gardner are 2 other public golf courses, the Heritage Golf Course as well as Sycamore Ridge. All 3 of these courses are really fun to play, and the nice thing is you'll never get tired of always playing the same course. In the early part of June, we have the Festival of Trails. During the Christmas season, they've got the Christmas in the Park. You've got the 4th of July celebration. We also have the summer movie series. This is where they hold a family-oriented movie at the various parks throughout Gardner. If you have a young family, Gardner offers you plenty of activities to keep your kids not only entertained, but active. The big question on your mind is, what are the schools like? Well, you're in luck, because the Gardner-Edgerton School District that serves Gardner, Kansas, is considered by many as one of the top school districts in the Kansas City metropolitan area. So let's talk a little bit first about the elementary schools. There are 7. Now, these neighborhood-based schools focus on early literacy, math, and STEM. Now, you're going to find modern schools with a lot of interactive technology, but more importantly, you're going to have a lot of opportunity for family and parental involvement. Now, once they reach 5th grade, they're going to transition into the middle schools, of which there are 3. The focus in the middle schools is a blend of academic rigor as well as electives. So you can take everything from, say, band to robotics, from art to foreign languages. From the middle school, you're going to transition into the one high school that serves Gardner, Kansas, and that's the Edgerton Gardner High School. There's about 1,600 students. They offer advanced placement and dual college courses, as well as hands-on training for things like health sciences, engineering, and the trade. One of the great things, though, about the Gardner-Edgerton school system is, even though it's a small town, it has all the perks which you'd find in the bigger cities. So you've got engaged teachers, small classrooms, and a community that continues to invest in the overall quality of the schools, ensuring that their students receive an excellent education. So if education is important, I think you could agree that Gardner, Kansas has that covered. So let's move on to another advantage, and that has to do with employment and base income. So in terms of income, the median household income for Gardner, Kansas is $92,500, which is higher than the average for the United States, slightly lower than what the average is for Johnson County. Johnson County, the average median household income is $106,000. So it's right there. But more importantly, what it's telling us is that there are really good job opportunities here in Gardner, Kansas, or the surrounding area. So for instance, the unemployment rate in Gardner, Kansas is 3.1%, which is below the national average. And in terms of employment sectors, the three main sectors that really make up the Gardner community is healthcare, retail, and transportation. Now, the top employers in the city of Gardner is the Gardner Edgerton School District. You've got Walmart that employs 225 employees. You've got Constantino's Price Chopper, which is a local Kansas City Metropolitan grocery store chain. They employ 198 people. And then you have the Meadowbrook Rehabilitation Hospital that employs 189. Now, that's just for the city of Gardner itself. 10 to 15 minutes away to the south from Gardner, Kansas, is the Logistics Park of Kansas City, which is a 3,000-acre master plan facility for things like manufacturing, transportation, as well as distribution. Adjacent to it is a 433-acre facility called the BNSF Intermodal Facility. This is the largest intermodal facility in the Midwest. This is where they're actually taking containers from trains, transferring them to trucks, and then distributing them out through the Midwest. In addition to this hub and the employers that are in Gardner, Kansas, you are 30 to 40 minutes away from other employment centers, such as the College Boulevard corridor, as well as Corporate Woods, which is in Overland Park. And if you still are one of those folks who works downtown, then you're about a 35 to 40 minute drive to that employment center as well. Bottom line is there are opportunities to work in Gardner as well as take advantage of other opportunities that are throughout the Kansas City metropolitan area. Maybe a number of you who have the opportunity to work from home, that even eliminates the need to commute. So we've talked about some of the advantages of living here in Gardner, Kansas. Depending on your lifestyle, we're going to talk about some maybe disadvantages, but again, depending on your lifestyle, they may or may not be a disadvantage. Tell me in the comment section below what you think of Gardner, Kansas so far and what concerns you may have. And we're going to start with dining and shopping. And we're going to first focus on dining, and then we're going to transition over into the shopping. Now, dining in Gardner, Kansas at the moment is really pretty limited. Now, there are plenty of fast food restaurants, so if you're into the fast food scene, you're going to be pleased. In fact, if you're a Freddy's lover, which I happen to be, they just opened up their first restaurant in Gardner, Kansas. But if you're someone who likes a nice casual sit-down restaurant, say like a Olive Garden or a Texas Roadhouse, you're out of luck. You're not going to find one. And what's even worse is if you really want to go to a really nice upscale restaurant to celebrate, say, a graduation, a birthday, an anniversary, a promotion, in either case, you're going to have to drive 15 to 30, 35 minutes in order to satisfy that itch. Now, having said that, there are some really nice local mom and pop restaurants in Gardner. I mean, if you want a burger, then once again, check out Blazers. It's great. I love the atmosphere. Now, if you're someone who gets up in the morning and has to have that coffee fix, well, there's no Starbucks, but they have what's called the Groundhouse Coffee. It's in downtown Gardner. It's wonderful. Great location, and like Starbucks, it offers great coffees and different types of drinks, as well as pastries. But it does offer one thing that Starbucks doesn't offer, and they offer crepes. They've got a couple of great Mexican restaurants, a Chinese restaurant. If you're into the sports bar scene, they've got a great sports bar called Austin. So there you can go and watch your favorite college team or professional team with all your buds. So there's plenty of opportunities there. But if you're a foodie, you're going to always be taking some time to drive into the various parts of the metropolitan area to satisfy that itch. Now, the way I would approach that is, it's not so much a disadvantage as an opportunity to explore the Kansas City metropolitan area so that you can at some point decide where you might want to move to that maybe better serves your particular situation at that point in time. Let's switch our focus to shopping. Like dining, shopping is very, very thin in Gardner. All I can say is thank goodness for the internet, because if you really want to do some serious shopping, you're going to have to go and search it out in the various cities in Johnson County and Kansas City. For instance, if I really want to do some upscale shopping, I'm headed to Leawood, because there I'm going to find the Leawood Town Center, Park Place, and Hawthorne. All of these are really nice upscale shopping centers, and they're all located at the same intersection. Conversely, if I'm doing holiday shopping, anniversary shopping, back to school shopping, or just a major shopping excursion, I can go 20 minutes to the north and hit Oak Park Mall, which is the largest mall in the Kansas City metropolitan area, as well as the largest mall in the state of Kansas. And not only do I have a large mall I can take advantage of, but the other three corners on that intersection are all built out with large retail big box centers, and you're also going to find Sam's Wholesale Club as well as Costco. Yes, shopping will require a little bit of additional driving, but there are some really good shopping centers that are within about a 10 to 15 minute drive of Gardner, Kansas. But for me, I'm old school. I like going to the store, seeing what I'm buying, feeling what I'm buying, particularly if I'm buying clothes, because I find nothing's more frustrating than to make an order online when the item comes and it's not the same color that you noticed in the catalog, so you got to send it back. So for me, driving 10 or 15 minutes or 30 minutes to go shopping, that's not a big deal. It's in the eye of the beholder, so you have to make a decision whether or not that's a deal breaker. So our second disadvantage, if you want to call it that, and that happens to do with entertainment. Now, we've talked about the different entertainment venues for families, but if you're a wild child and you like going out on the town, going to concerts, going to nightclubs, or certain events like the First Fridays in the Crossroads, well, you're going to have to, once again, get back in your car and you're going to be driving a good 25 to 30 minutes to satisfy that desire to go nightclubbing or to concerts. It's just the nature of the beast. But when you consider the fact that you can get such a lot of house for about half of what you're paying everywhere else in the Kansas City metropolitan area, the trade-off might be worth it. But once again, that's a decision that you, the individual, has to make. Now, another disadvantage to living in Gardner, Kansas has to do with transportation. There isn't any public transportation in Gardner, Kansas. You have to have a car. It's a car-centric city, as most of the suburban cities in Kansas City are. If you're coming from, say, the West Coast or the East Coast or Chicago, where like in New York City, you didn't really, if you live in New York City, you don't even have to own a car. This is going to be quite an adjustment because you're going to have a car. It's not practical to Uber or Lyft. This could be a major deal breaker because without your own source of transportation, you're going to feel pretty isolated. So that being said, those of us who live here in Kansas City, we all own a car. We don't mind driving. Kansas City has a terrific infrastructure system, so getting around Kansas City is not really a big deal. That's pretty much how most of the Midwest is. We're used to driving. But like I said, if you come from an environment where you like to walk to get around or public transportation, Gardner, Kansas is not going to be able to meet that requirement. Speaking of transportation, and this is another potential disadvantage of living in Gardner, Kansas, and that has to do with access to the other areas of the metropolitan area. So I-35 is the main means by which one goes from Gardner to the rest of the Kansas City metropolitan area. I-35 will take you right into Olathe, Kansas, Overland Park, Lenexa, Shawnee, and direct access to downtown Kansas City. Now, I-35, they do a terrific job of maintaining that road, so it's always in excellent condition. That being said though, when it snows or we've got ice, even though the road crews do a great job of keeping that road clean, it's going to add a good 10 minutes to your travel time to your various destinations. Furthermore, if there's a wreck, and it does happen, you've added another 10-15 minutes to your commute time. If you work in the Overland Park area or downtown, that is going to be one of the obstacles that you're going to be faced with. Conversely, if you work in Gardner, Kansas, it's not an issue. And if you work in the intermodal facility or the logistics park, which is about 10 minutes from south of Gardner, again, it's not a big issue. It's only if you work in the downtown area or along College Boulevard or Corporate Woods, in those areas, that driving to work can be an issue. Gardner's not for everyone. But having said that, if you're looking for a family-oriented community where there's really affordable housing, both for existing homes or new homes, then Gardner clearly will meet that requirement. And despite its shortcomings with the dining and shopping, those opportunities really are within about 10 to 15 minutes of Gardner, Kansas. If you feel that Gardner is a good fit and you want to learn more or you have questions, let's set up a time to talk. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Also, please do me a favor, like the video and subscribe. That way you'll be sure to get all the changes that are taking place in the Kansas City real estate market. And lest I forget, I know some of you have the capacity to buy a home all cash, but the large percentage of the folks need financing. Well, that's an area that I'm very well versed in. I am a lender as well as a realtor, so I can answer any questions you have relative to your specific financing needs. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video, and there's nothing more I'd like until then than to show you around the Kansas City area.